Hello again. Now that we did our summary, we are then going to do our questions. We are going to first start with question 1, which says, for which values of x would this expression x square root of x minus 2 divided by x plus 3 be undefined for our A? So our expression here, which says x minus 2 x plus 3, when will this be undefined? This can be undefined. We know that from our previous summary that any mathematical expression can be undefined if we divide it by a 0. So any number could be a variable divided by a 0. This will be undefined. Defined. So when will this be undefined? If our denominator be a 0, and this can happen if x equals to minus 3. Then our b, which says, when will this x for which value of x will this expression be equal to 0? This expression can equal to 0. So from our previous summary, we also know that we can find 0 if we multiply any number by 0, even if we can divide 0 by any number. So here we cannot multiply since we're given a minus and a positive, a minus and a positive and a plus here. So we can manipulate this in such a way that we have to divide 0 by any number. So when can we divide a 0 by any number? Is when we can change our numerator here, or find the value of x which will make our numerator here 0. So in that case, that the answer will be x equals to 2. For we know that if we divide x equals to 2, we'll have a 0 divided by 2. So in which way we can show that? By saying that if x equals to 2 minus 2 divided by 2 plus 3, this will give us 0 divided by 5, which is 0. Or you can work out b in this way: square root of x minus 2 divided by x plus 3. You say, when will this equal to 0? So you square both sides. Square equals to 0 square. You have x minus 2 divided by x plus 3 equals to 0. Equals multiply, then we'll be left with x minus 2 equals to 0. Therefore your x will be 2. Now answering our question C, which says, for which value of x will this expression be a non-real? We know that a non-real number is a square root of a negative number. So when can this number here be a negative? It can be a negative if at least our numerator or our denominator is negative. So for example, if we drew a number line of values of x, take 0, 1, 2, 3, and negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, and so on. We see that if we substitute, if our value is 3, this value here, our numerator or our denominator can never be negative. And if our x is 2, neither our numerator or our denominator can be negative. But if our x is less than 2, we'll have a case where we have to subtract a bigger number from a negative number. So our x is less than 2. But if we continue with this number line, we'll find that if we substitute by -3, this expression becomes undefined. But if we substitute by -4, this number will have a negative number and a negative number, and a negative number plus a negative number will give us a positive number. So our x can be greater than -3. So to answer our C, we'll say x is less than 2, or x is greater than -3, which is x less than 2, x 3. This is our C. Now answering our question number 2, which say for which value of x will these two terms, square root of 3 plus 4 and -1 over x, be first A, undefined. We know that from our first answer and our summary, that we can have an undefined situation or an undefined expression when we have to divide by a 0. So since we have two terms here, so when can we divide by 0? First here, we can divide by 0 if x is minus 4 also, or we can divide by 0 if x equals to 0. So this is our answer A. To answer B, when we have a non-real situation or non-real, when will this expression be non-real? That can happen if we will have a square root of a negative number. So how can we have a square root of a negative number here? We can have a square root of a negative number if our x here, or our x plus 4 is negative. So when can x plus 4 be negative? Is when x is greater than or is less than -4, and that will give us a non-real situation. Now answering question C, which asks for which value of x will these terms 3 divided by x plus 4 minus 1 over x, for which value of x will these two terms equals to 0. So working out this one, we have first moving this one to the side, we have square root of 3x plus 4 equals to 1 over x. Then we square both sides. We have 3 divided by x plus 4 equals to 1 over x squared. We cross multiply. We have 3x squared equals to x plus 4. Moving this to the side, we have 3x squared minus x minus 4 equals to 0. Factorizing these, we have 3x x. Factor separately, we have -4 plus 1 equals to 0. Therefore our x is 4 over 3, or our x equals to -1. So if we check out our values here to find out if they are correct, we find out, for example, here we have x3 divided by, if we substitute by 4 divided by 3 plus 4 minus 5 by 4 divided by 3. Working out this, we have square root of 3 multiplied by 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times 4 is 12. 12 plus 6, 12 plus 4 is 16. Therefore we have 16. Now we have, here we divide by 16. Divide by 16 over 3. And here we have 1 divided by 4/3. We know that we have 3 times 3 divided by 16 minus 1 times 3/4, which gives us square root of 9/16 minus 3/4. This one gives us 3/4 minus 3/4, which equals to 0. So this factor is correct. Now the other factor, which is x equals to -1. We can see that we have 3 minus 1 plus 4 minus equals to 1 divided by -1. So working out this, we have 3 divided by 3 minus -1. This gives us 1, and this gives us what? +1. So our x is not equals to -1. So we're done with these questions.